Welcome back everyone to the video, and so obviously just gonna get this out of the way right now. No face cam today. It's kind of bugging out, not gonna lie, and I just want to get the video out rather than messing with it. So hopefully by next video the problem is solved. But yeah, so anyway, for today's video that we're actually doing, if you guys have not seen my past videos like this, I've done one on Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, the Chargers going into next year. I'm just kind of briefly recapping either some draft choices, some players, some new coaching changes, all that kind of stuff. And today is going to be Jayden Daniels, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did a weird order for this. I did like Drake May first, and then Caleb Williams, and then Jayden Daniels. Not sure I didn't just do it 1, 2, and 3, but yeah, as far as quarterbacks go, but whatever. So for Jayden Daniels today, so we're gonna start with just briefly going over him as a prospect. I'm sure many of you are probably familiar with him, but just in case you're not, we'll go over him pretty briefly, and then also talk a lot about the team because there's a lot to consider when it comes to Washington's upcoming season. So starting with Jayden Daniels, though, he has a 6.73 prospect grade from the NFL, which is equivalent to a year 1 starter. Now, when I do this, I always like to go down. I like to highlight the player's strengths and the weaknesses. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I am going to highlight just a few that I find to be pretty important or just worth highlighting. So if you guys want to read them all, you can pause it, go for it. If not, that's fine too. The first one I want to highlight is his second strength from the top, which is recognizes pre-snap pressure and has a plan to counter it. Obviously, a quarterback being able to do this, it's a very useful ability, but especially in the NFL though, because they can disguise things differently. And especially with how good some of these defenses are, especially actually in Washington's division. The NFC East has some very good defenses, so being able to have that as one of his strengths as a rookie, I think is actually going to probably benefit him a lot. He does have a tendency to get himself into some pretty big hits on the run, which brings us down to the weaknesses. It says slender frame will lead to durability concerns. Now, I do want to just talk on this for a second here, because last year Bryce Young, the same thing was said about him, that he was too small, he was too skinny, and if you think that maybe his build does contribute to his horrible year he had last season, fair enough, whatever. But he did not really get injured. He missed 1 game because of an ankle sprain, but other than that, he was very durable, and he got hit a lot. He got sacked a ton. That O-line was awful. So I don't want to read too much into this when it comes to prospects, because I like to kind of see how it actually develops as the year goes on. Because last year Bryce Young gets sacked all year, misses only 1 game. Whereas, Anthony Richardson kind of ran a little bit too much maybe early on, took some hits, and end up being injured for the whole year. In fact, actually, last year, Trevor Lawrence had even told Richardson after one of their games that he got to slide a bit more in this league because the hits really add up. So there is a difference between college hits and NFL hits, and hopefully for Jayden Daniels, he doesn't find himself taking some of those big hits he did in college, because in the NFL, the consequences could be a bit worse. So as far as the slender frame thing goes, though, I'm not going to read too much into that when it comes to any prospect, including Jayden Daniels, because I like to see how it actually impacts him on the field rather than speculating and taking a prospect grade down just because of something like that. And then another strength I will also highlight is full field reader with good rhythm through his progressions. Now, something like this, and even going down the strengths too, anticipatory thrower with accuracy and feel for attacking zone windows. I mean, those are big type of concepts and skills for a quarterback to be very good at the next level. A lot of the best guys in the league you see have those type of traits. So, I'm not saying Jayden Daniels is going to instantly be one of the best, but for some of those things to be one of his strengths coming to the league, it's obviously, it can set him apart for sure. So, I just want to highlight those. Again, if you guys want to read them, go for it. If not, we're going to move on, though. And we're going to be moving on to Luke McCaffrey. I want to highlight him before we get into the entire team. And starting with him, so he had a 5.96 prospect grade, which is equivalent to an average backup or special teamer. Now, if you go down to Luke's strengths and weaknesses, though, there are not as many, as you guys can see, as someone like Jayden Daniels. But it's interesting. The former QB took a big step forward in his second season at receiver. Former quarterback come receiver, already being talked about as being possibly a start at the next level. Crazy athlete. I mean, you have to be a very, very good athlete to make that transition and do it well, especially. But also interesting, made jaw-dropping one-handed catches with coverage draped over him. Route running improved over the second half of 2023. So to me, both those things kind of read as he has the talent. He just might not be polished at every single thing as being a wide receiver. Some of the abilities or traits he might not have down yet. But considering he's a former quarterback, to already be that good and be able to make jaw-dropping one-handed catches with coverage draped all over him, I mean, to me, it kind of just screams that it's there. The potential is there. It's got to be developed, and he has to really kind of polish some of those things he's not as good about. But I mean, being able to be that raw of an athlete and transition from quarterback to wide receiver and be talked about as being a starter in your first NFL season, I mean, to me, it's there. The potential is there. We've obviously seen what the other, McCaffrey can do. So I think it's pretty cool. And then as for his weaknesses, really all of them, I do feel like are things for the most part that can be developed and fixed with coaching and more experience. So none of those really are super concerning to me. If I had to pick one, it'd be had trouble releasing cleanly against serious press attempts. But other than that, can improve with adjustments coming back to deep throws. Still needs work getting in and out of breaks more quickly. Movement is more one speed than sudden and shifty. I feel like those things can really come as he gets more experience, better coaching, more reps. I mean, I don't know. To me, I think this is a very underrated prospect, and he could be a huge game changer down the line for Washington. And as I've highlighted in my previous videos, because you guys do seem to like these, this is a RAS score for Luke McCaffrey. Now, the RAS score is a composite score from 1 to 10 that takes into account the prospect's height, weight, 40-yard dash, all kinds of stuff like that, and then gives them a score. Their relative athletic score from 1 to 10, and obviously Luke McCaffrey scored very well, 9.44 out of 10, factoring in his height and his weight. What really obviously jumps off the page is his agility. That's where he really kind of set himself apart. Obviously, very good 40-yard dash time as well. But yeah, so this guy is a good athlete. He can be a playmaker. I really think this is a sneaky rookie wide receiver. I don't want to say Puka Nacua because that's a very extreme example. But as far as impact goes relative to the team, I think he could have a very big impact. Again, not on Puka Nacua's scale, but as someone that could be potentially overlooked and really be a game changer for the team, I think Luke McCaffrey has that potential. And so then coming over to the Washington Commanders depth chart and looking at their offense. Now, I do want to be very clear. I'm going to be doing team predictions going into next year as standalone videos. Okay, so this is not that. This is just kind of content on top of that. Those videos will be coming out more mid-June into July, maybe even into August, basically. So for this, it's kind of a brief look. I'm not going to give an exact record prediction, all that. That's all later on for this offseason. But I do want to factor in some of those things. So look at their offense. So Jayden Daniels is their quarterback. Austin Eckler, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, Zach Ertz, Brandon Coleman, Nick, I'm not even going to try the last name. I'm probably going to butcher it. Tyler, same thing there. Sam Cosmi, and then Andrew Wiley. So looking at this, so let's just start with Jayden Daniels, of course. So rookie quarterback. New head coach, even with Dan Quinn. Also, Cliff Kingsbury now brought in. I think Jayden Daniels actually does fit what Cliff Kingsbury likes to do very well. In my opinion, as I said in videos past, I thought Drake May was the better overall quarterback, but I don't think he actually would fit into Washington's system as well as Jayden Daniels does. So for me, that pick is justified, and it's a good pick in that sense. So Jayden Daniels, quarterback. Austin Eckler is someone that is not young by any means. I think he is going to probably slowly start getting less and less productive. But Brian Robinson Jr. is very good, in my opinion. So having both of them in there, I think you can contribute very, very well. Brian Robinson Jr. kind of underrated out of the backfield in the receiving game, to be honest. Austin Eckler, obviously, is good at that as well. So I like that situation for Jayden Daniels. And then Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, Zach Ertz. So first off, let's actually start with tight end. Zach Ertz, again, not young by any means, but drafting Ben Sinnott, if that's how you say it, I'm not really sure, to be honest. If I said it wrong, someone correct me down below. But having him be able to sit behind Zach Ertz, who is a very good proven veteran in this league, that I think will be very beneficial to his development. I think we will see as the course of the season goes on, Ben get more and more reps in there at tight end. So I like that situation for him as well. Look at the receiving group as a whole. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey. I think they all actually complement each other pretty well. And I think you have those guys like Jahan Dotson or Luke McCaffrey. I think those are guys that Daniels can dump the ball off underneath or 5 yards out, and they can turn it into bigger plays. It's not someone like Keon Coleman, for example, the rookie on the Bills now, where, he's not really much of a separator, but he's amazing at contested catches and all that. But, being a playmaker after the catch, that kind of thing, separating, that's not really his game. But guys like Luke McCaffrey and Jahan Dotson that can do that, that helps Jayden Daniels out a lot because he doesn't have to, fit into tight window throws all the time. He's able to have guys, I don't want to say bail him out, but, they can really take those kind of plays that aren't expected to be as much. They can take it to the next level, and that can help a rookie quarterback out a ton when they're struggling. And that's what I want to talk about next as far as struggling goes. Now, I think whether you believe that Washington will have a great year or a horrible year, I think it is inevitable to kind of, consider that there will be growing pains, because you have a rookie quarterback, you have a new head coach, new offensive coordinator. There's a lot of new when it comes to Washington. A lot of things that are going to be situated. I apologize for any background noise right now. But there are a lot of things that are going to have to be figured out that are not going to be polished come, week 1, week 2, week 3. But when you look at last year, Jordan Love's first full season starting, he had some games he didn't look very good throughout the year. And then all of a sudden, I'm not sure the exact week. You can go, maybe week 11, week 12, somewhere like that. It was like he just kind of found a different gear. He got comfortable, he got in a rhythm, and obviously we could see the difference. I mean, he almost went to the NFC Championship game. So I think that is something that we'll have to look at as well for Washington, how Jayden Daniels progressed throughout the season, because I'm expecting this to be pretty rough for the first few weeks, which I don't think is, out of the ordinary. It happens. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. But I do think he has the supporting cast around him to where we can get a good look of what he's going to look like in year 1 and the direction for this team. Obviously, at least me personally, I would not give up on a rookie quarterback in year 1. I know some people get pretty impatient when it comes to that kind of stuff. That's not how I personally am. So even if Jayden Daniels does struggle a lot this year, I want to look for flashes of what he shows, of what he can be, how he utilizes some of these weapons. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that this offense is going to be top 10, unless he has some kind of otherworldly rookie season like CJ Stroud, which I don't personally see to be in the cards, but you never know. I didn't see for CJ Stroud either, and it happened, so, can't rule it out completely. But I'm not going to sit here and say that there's the personnel that he can, easily make this a top 10 offense. I don't really think that's going to happen. I think if that does happen, it would have to be him having like a incredible rookie season and elevating these guys a lot and having guys step up to be a bit more than what they might be projected in year 1. So I don't want to rule it out completely, but again, that is one thing I want to note, that there are probably going to be growing pains. And what is probably not going to help those growing pains is the division. They are in a pretty tough division. You got the Cowboys defense. He's going to be going up against twice a year. The Eagles defense, they kind of reloaded their secondary a little bit. You have Jalen Carter coming back in year 2. Pretty good defense going on there. Even the Giants, their D-line, very, very good. Kayvon Thibodeau, you have Dexter Lawrence, you have Brian Burns now. I mean, Jayden Daniels is going to get tested for sure in this division. As far as the defense goes, he's going to face some pretty good defenses. He's probably going to have some pretty rough games. But I don't know if those rough games are going to outweigh some of the ones I think he could really put together as far as having some really good games down the stretch as well. But I'm not going to say the record and all that again. That's for a later video. It's a very tough division when you want to talk about playoffs, so I'm going to leave it at that. But I'm not going to rule anything out. I think he has a very interesting supporting cast that I think can be utilized to really surprise some people. But again, a lot of that hinges on Jayden Daniels. It hinges on this offense because a lot of new moves were made in Washington over the past couple of seasons. And this is going to be our first full season of looking at the future of this team and if it's heading in the right direction or not, or if more changes need to happen. Obviously, I hope that, they've kind of found their guy and their coach and all. But we'll definitely see how that goes. And so as far as, their upcoming season, you guys comment down below what you guys think Washington and Jayden Daniels are going to do in the 2024 season. I know I've seen some very different takes on this. People are very optimistic, people very pessimistic about it. So let me know down below. That's going to do it for today's video, though. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to subscribe to my channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for all the support there. I really, really appreciate that. Leave a like on the video. And yeah, we'll have another video out soon just like this. Not sure what team yet, to be honest with you, but I'll get that situated pretty soon. And yeah, be on the lookout for that. I do more videos like this. I also rank teams and players and do more, player-specific stuff, team-specific stuff, in the off-season and during the season for that matter. I also do Madden videos where we do gameplays and pack openings, and then I also am going to be doing videos over the college game coming out in July as well. So a lot of football content on the channel one way or another, whether it's video games or real life. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.